Okay, first things first, I want to say welcome. If you've ever had an inkling to travel, to do business, or to invest internationally, namely on the continent of Africa, you're in the right spot. My name is Jonathan Tease. I'm here with my Morehouse brother, my brother from another, Ethan Brisby, and we're going to talk about some opportunities that we have to expand our horizons personally, professionally, maybe even financially. So stick around and stay tapped in because I think this is going to be a great discussion.
By rolling down in the deep, when your brain goes numb, you can call them into freeze. When these people talk too much, put the shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. What you know about rolling down in the deep?
For sure, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's always good. I'm coming live from Kampala, Uganda. So I'm in East Africa. The beginning of year 4, not nonstop, but back and forth for quite a while. So I'm looking forward to the chat, man. I know you got a few things and questions lined up, and I'll show some information. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, so you mentioned that tour guide. I was going to say the same thing. I think it's obviously when you have someone with experience that can shortcut that learning curve and take you to the places, then your experience can probably be vastly different. So let's talk about some of the tour opportunities you've created through your time on the continent.
Yeah. So what we've created is sort of a 3-pronged program. The first prong is some cultural immersion, being able to, before you even come here, we have a 2-week online course that you'll take that I lead. And so we'll be able to discuss some of the local customs and languages, and I'll have some of the people that I work with on the ground to join us to answer some of those questions that you have. And I know I mentioned some of us have very basic understanding of the continent, but there's no dumb question. So during those time periods, you get the chance to begin to build a level of comfortability. And that's the first phase of what we've created. The second phase is we plan to host these group trips periodically throughout the year, and you'll see that on the calendar I'm about to show you. And these are 7 or 1 week or 2 weeks, 7 or 14-day trips where we pretty much play the role of your concierge, making sure you get the right flight, hotels, on the ground accommodations, food. And then we also introduce you to some opportunities here for those people that are interested in doing business or investing. And so the third prong is once you go back, we want to make sure we stay in touch and we continue to make sure we can help you to nurture the relationships that you would have gained. And so that's what we'll talk about here. And I'm going to go through that here briefly in a bit more detail to show you some of the visuals, and then you can kind of see the details on your screen. And so, we're targeting primarily, Jonathan, people that are in the diaspora. It's open to everyone, but of course, I think there's an inherent value add for people of African descent. And so we're targeting folks that are from the diaspora, and of course, people also that are cultural enthusiasts. And so some of the key features, let's dive into it. So as I mentioned, these are, we have 7 or 14-day options, and you'll be able to dive deep into either Uganda or Kenya. And we'll add other locations, but right now, that's where we have the most relationships in place, in Uganda and in Kenya. In Uganda, people speak a language called Luganda, but they also speak English. 70% of the Ugandan population is Christian. And so many of them speak English. In Kenya, the same thing. Many people speak English. Many of the schools teach in English, whereas Swahili is the national language in Kenya. But people are bilingual. I think us Americans are some of the only folks that, one and done when it comes with languages. But during these 7 days, we want to make sure that you do get the chance to dive deep into the cultures. Even before you come, there's an opportunity to learn some survival Luganda or some survival Swahili to help you as you come into the continent to explore. And of course, we get to check out nature as well. I talked about the cultural training, and that's very important, again, because I think there's a certain level of sensitization that's important to come. For example, in Uganda, the roads are not the best. And the last group of people that I had here, that was one of their main takeaways, because having been here for a while, it just has become normal that the roads are not the best. But when people are coming from, you know, cities in the modern America or suburbs, they're used to good quality roads, and that's just not the case here. So that's also a part of this cultural training. These are also very communal communities where people really depend on each other. You know, Tease, and I'll pause. You might have something to say. I know there's a few more slides, but you know, when we in America, when we see, you know, the Chinese and the Indians or the Mexicans that come to the U.S. and we see the way they have this inherent community sort of in the thread of their very being, right? And we see that. I know sometimes people are being facetious and they might see some Mexicans that come to the US and 3 or 4 families live in a house. And that's not something that African Americans typically do. I think because historically, you know, our families were brutally ripped apart from each other and we lost some of that communal structure. But when you come to a place like Uganda, it's abnormally, in my opinion, abnormally communal. And these are things that we have to be ready for and understand as we make that leap over here. So I'll pause. You know, there's a few more slides we'll get to, and I'll start talking about the packages next, but you might have something you want to add or an area where you want more explanation.
No, I think this is good, man, especially to point out some of the differences in like mindset and culture, community being a big one. I do appreciate the concept of community. So, I mean, even this photo on the screen right now is just beautiful to see, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I like to believe that even in America, we could have this, you know, everybody sitting in a place and happy. It looks like they're centered around this brother in the center and everything. Like, I just imagine that a healthy, healed community could look like this, you know? So I'm excited to be able to support you in getting this information out and getting this knowledge of like, hey, there's other cultures and other ways of life besides what we've been limited to just, you know, by us being born in America.
Yeah, man, because we really have taken on a very, very individualistic sort of perspective. And I do think individuation is important, but there's also something to be said, a certain level of inherent respect, a certain brevity to the value system that you maintain when you do have more of a communal outlook. And again, I think historically, some of that was stripped away from the African American community at various time periods. So yeah, I think coming here is a part of the healing. Going back to your question earlier about how someone would prepare, I think you should prepare to have a level of healing that maybe you didn't even know you needed.
Yeah, I love that. So let's get into the packages and what it takes to get there.
For sure. So what we've curated are a series of different packages. I'm gonna go over the basic rudimentary outlook of it, which, you know, we include your flight, again, your accommodations, meals, and a personalized itinerary. And so it can be done two ways. Maybe you're coming and you and your family are coming and you just want something personalized and you guys are going to land here and you're going to take care of yourself. You'll be able to move about. You just wanted to make sure you were staying in the right locations and you're making sure that you're going to touch some of the top spots or tourist attractions or whatever you're hoping to aim for. And you land and we're like, hey, you made it. Let us know if you need us. That's one way to do it. But then, as I mentioned, we also have, and I'll show the dates in a moment, some group trip opportunities where not only do we play the role of concierge, but we're there at the airport to pick you up. We're there each morning to take you to the place where we're going to have sightseeing, or you're going to be able to go and have a meeting with one of the ministers or with someone in the business community that you're interested in. Perhaps it's energy, or perhaps it's real estate or technology. So we want to be able to facilitate those meetings for you. Or maybe you want to go out to Queen Elizabeth National Park, or Kazinga is the local name for it. And you would want, you know, some locals or some Ugandans to experience that with you. So we have some group trips that are coming up, and we really would want to have you all to be a part of those. And the dates are forthcoming. I keep kind of foreshadowing that, but it's definitely coming here. But again, the main thing that happens when you do embed yourself into our community and into this ecosystem that we're creating, Because remember, it starts with education, and then it builds on with business, and then it becomes more lasting with an impactful investment. And so we want to make sure after you've had those 2 weeks here that you're able to, if you met perhaps a woman entrepreneur and you're like, yo, I'd love to engage further and perhaps become a mentor. Great. Okay, she's a part of our program. She's been fully vetted. Let's connect you guys so you can mentor. Or maybe you decide, hey, I was able to see one of the sites for the Forward Center, another foreshadow, and you'd be interested in even buying a home here in Uganda. We want to just make sure that you get the full impact of what it is you were setting out to do. And even if you don't know what your end goal is, we want to be able to help you get that clearer and clearer.
Absolutely.
So
it feels like it's a try it before you buy it type situation, whether it's trying international travel with someone who you can relate to, with you being from the States and being so cultured domestically, but also being able to curate something personalized on foreign territory. For the entrepreneurial minded or people that are just looking to build and continue to branch, being able to have someone like yourself through your shift program say, hey, these are some talented, aspiring individuals that could use your nurturing as a professional American professional. And lastly, like you mentioned, we'll talk about the forward centers and some of the real estate opportunities. But if you get there and just fall in love with it, being able to have that experience to anchor you as you make your plans to purchase property.
Yeah, because again, like you said, you don't just plunge into an opportunity like this. And even just yesterday, I had a call with a gentleman in Philadelphia, and he was asking me about the political climate. He was asking me about what it's like there, because he's like, I don't know, me and my family may be gearing up to leave America. And this isn't, first of all, I want to be very clear, this isn't some bash America sort of outlook. It's just simply looking at alternatives and other ways to live out maybe the twilight of your life or the prime of your life, or you want to raise your children in a certain culture. And so we want to create those opportunities. And like I mentioned, I see you about to chime in there.
Yeah, I think it's just interesting to set yourself up to have options, right? Like so many people have, their primary income and a side hustle or a business or a hobby that they take very seriously that could become a full-time opportunity if the right breaks fell their way. And I view this as no different. It does require a different level of resource allocation and commitment because we're talking about international travel and possibly residing, but it's holistically, it's very similar to what I just mentioned.
Yeah, and man, especially in the network that we come from, when you talk about Spell House and other HBCUs, for example, and people in our age group, let's just say between 35 and 45, for example, many people have done very well. They've taken a linear career path, they've made good money and market upticks, or, they've just managed their money well, and they may even be in a position to say, hey, for my summer house, I'm not going to buy it in Miami or in Panama. I'm going to buy it in Uganda. I'm going to buy it in Kenya. And so, or it could be people that are looking for ways to diversify their portfolio. And they're like, you know what? I would love to be on the ground level of an energy company that's in the Eastern Africa, or that I'm learning about through Shift. And so we're just here to be a conduit. We're just here to be a messenger to say, hey guys, I've come over this hill as the Indian that first saw some of these things, and now I'm just coming back to tell my people what I believe are good opportunities. And I think that, we're just here to inform. And now as we embed the tourism part of it, we're also here to show. You can come and see, what they say on that show, Reading Rainbow, don't take my word for it. Now you get the chance to come and see for yourself. And I think that's one of the greatest benefits that I could talk about, is the fact that you get the chance to see for yourself. Mm-hmm. And you also get the chance to be a part of a community, because we all need community.
Absolutely. I see these benefits on the screen. Anything in particular that you want to focus on?
I think the main thing, and it's going to be unique to everyone. Some people may exclusively just be wanting to connect with that African part of their identity. Check mark. Some people may want to be able to look at vetted investment opportunities. Okay, check mark. Some people may want to be a part of a global community of like-minded people or ambitious thinkers. Check mark. Or some people might say, you know, I just don't know where to stay. I just don't know how to get around there. I wouldn't know how to begin even planning a trip to Africa, to East Africa, Uganda, Kenya. Check mark. So the benefits are unique to whatever your situation is, but we want to do our best. We're not a perfect company. This isn't a perfect program, but we do get things done. And so that's what I would say about the benefits.
All right.
All right. So how about we talk a little bit about the money part?
Everybody's favorite part.
Yeah, right. They're like, okay, E, this is good stuff, but let me know what's the count. So at the baseline for a 7-day all-inclusive trip, you're looking at about $5,000 per person. And so that's going to be contingent upon, you know, somebody might want to fly business class. Somebody might want to only stay in the most elite hotels. Somebody might require fine dining. So yeah, that's going to up your price a bit. But by and large, for most of us that are looking to go out, have a good time, you don't mind flying economy, you want to stay in a nice hotel, they're all nice, or even an Airbnb. We're able to also do some shared costing with some of the transportation options we have. $5,000 will get you 7 days. That will be unforgettable. And that's in one country. But there's also a thing called the East Africa Tourism Visa. So you get access to 3 countries with one visa: Uganda, Kenya, and Rwanda. So let's say, for example, you wanted to do 7 days in Uganda, and then you wanted to extend your trip 3 to 4 more days in Kenya, where you could go to Nairobi, you could take the train to Mombasa, which is out on the Indian Ocean. I like to compare Mombasa to Miami. It's really amazing. And so if you could extend, it'd be another $1,300 to get you to Kenya, to get you to see those new sites and things of that nature. But now if you only want to engage with us because we're the on-ground experts, then we do have some cultural orientations where we can just kind of help you with the process of understanding what's here and what you can look forward to. So we have something for everyone. And like I said, it's a very much personalized situation where we want to make sure, I want to say this is definitely open to the public, but it's also exclusive, because we need people that share a similar ethos that we share. And what does that mean? That means that we're not here to exploit people. We're not here to cast our American ideals upon people. Just like we've all heard the term, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. When you're in Uganda, you do as the Ugandans do. So we want to prepare you for that. And we want to make sure we have people that match with that same sort of outlook at a very reasonable level. So that's your cost structure. Again, it goes up from $5,000, but $5,000 will certainly get you here for 7 days. And a lot of people are usually surprised when they see that, Jonathan, because they think that, you know, you're talking about 10,000 or more to come here. But we've got the right flight pass planned out for you, where you can either do direct from the US or you can do one stop and you're here. It doesn't have to be a whole 2-day escapade to get here. So we've taken a lot of the guesswork out.
I love that. So the dates that you have available remaining in 2025, I know we're at the tail end of Black History Month right now. If somebody wanted to get in right now, maybe make this their spring break, they could get in, it looks like in March. Talk to me about the date opportunities.
For sure, yes. There's a couple of pinpointed time periods where we're open to hosting, you know, small groups and putting together even our own small group tours. Our first official small group tour will be during the Juneteenth holiday this summer. But if someone was a teacher or just someone that's going to be taking vacation during the month of March, there's a 2-week window that you see there on the screen. We'll be more than happy to host you and help you prepare for your trip. And so that begins from March 11th to the 25th. I know that spring break is different for different schools and places like that. So we do have a 2-week window. We'll be more than happy to plan out your trip and host you on the ground. But the big one that I would like to concentrate on just here for a moment is Juneteenth. It's something that has grown legs in the U.S. over the past 2 years. I think it's now become an official national holiday. But before that, bro, I'm from Texas, so we the original Juneteenth. It's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the parade. It's going down the major way. So what better way to celebrate your freedom than to come to the place where it really all began? No matter if you identify as Black, or if you identify as African American, or you identify only as American, that's fine. But if you trace your lineage, at some point, it comes back to the continent. So we're looking to bring a small group, 6 to 10 folks, to be able to come and enjoy Juneteenth here in Uganda with us. We've got a lot of things planned, and I'm excited. I know it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of personalities, but that's the first big opportunity. And of course, you know, you have the holiday season at the end of this year, Thanksgiving and Christmas, Independence Day. That's another great opportunity to celebrate freedom. Celebrate freedom in a place where you can wake up and everyone looks like you. I did that in 2021 when I was here. I was actually doing a radio interview in Uganda. The very first day that I introduced Shift to the people of Uganda was July 4th, 2021. And so I'll never forget that, because that's the way I celebrated independence at that point. But yeah, these are the dates.
That's beautiful. That's truly beautiful. I love the idea of celebrating your freedom by returning to the starting point. That's wow. I'm kind of speechless on that one, man. Okay, so we got into the travel and the opportunities that you have there. You've mentioned these shift forward centers. So let's say I go and I have a really good time and I feel a connection of sorts to what you got going on. Can you share some insight, some information as to what I could do from America to maybe make this an even bigger part of my reality?